topic, but it's so important. And so we'll just jump right to it. Basically, most research, most studies have indicated that about 80% of people will read the headline, but maybe only 25% of people will read the content. And so that's why that headline needs to really grab people. And especially with the web, that's often sort of the only way they can judge whether or not they want to read this article is based on the headline. So if they, if it's not interesting enough, it doesn't grab them, it doesn't make them feel like there's going to be something worthwhile on the other side of it, they won't even go there. But even when they go there, they might only read, a lot of people won't read the whole thing. So you really got to have those strong headlines. So we're going to play a little game. There's a site called Upworthy, and what they do is they sort of promote videos that they think sort of represent issues that they care about, and they often it involves rewriting the headline or testing different headlines. So this is one where it's a story of, I think it's in a court, some sort of situation where this man who was raised by two lesbian women spoke very eloquently, and it sort of captured a lot of attention. But let's just which one do you think is the rewritten one that sort of blew it up, and which one was the original one? How many people think this is the, okay, how do we do this? Yeah, just point to the one you think was the rewritten one. Okay, so you guys are right. And how much of a lift do you guys think that it made? Like, did it maybe like 50%, 100%, like 1,000%, 10, so that's 10x, yeah? 10 to 20? Oh yeah, you were right. So it had 1 million views. It had been up for months, and then they posted this, and it shares on Facebook, shares on social media. 17 million people, because you hear the difference, right? This is Zach. Who is Zach? I don't care who Zach is. Like, family, that's kind of boring, right? But it takes, these two, it tells a little story, right, in that article, right? Like, two women, people feel, this is controversial, and then what do you get? What did you get? And I gotta know, right? You gotta know what it is. And so there's a big difference. Okay, so this one's gonna be harder. These are two that they split tested, so they ran one and then they ran the other. So these are same video, two different posts. Think about it, and then if you think that this one won, watch a dinner waitress explain to a Wall Street guy how money works in America. Raise your hand. Okay. How about this one? Not everyone's raising their hand. Okay. Well, this is the winner. 4x more clicks when they post. They would kind of send it out to different audiences, and this one did a lot better. So sometimes it's hard to tell, right? We'll do one more. This is another one where it's basically a video about a guy saying, like, white people stop complaining, like, you have it so good. Okay, so how many people think this one? Okay, how many people think this one? Oh, no, yeah, 32x difference. Yeah. So what's interesting about this is that these guys don't just write two headlines. For every article they put up, they have to write 25 headlines. You don't even get to talk about putting your post up until you write 25 headlines. So you can see that these were the two, right? Like, they're way down there. Hey, white guys, I got your back. Do you know how hard it is being a white guy? Being a white guy is harder than you think. You don't know what it's like to be a white guy. Seriously, white guys can't catch a break. What with our brake catcher installed and handled for, it's just. So we're going to go through and break down, like, why does this work, right? So a big part of it is creating this curiosity gap. So you want to know what happens if you put everything in the headline. Then you don't even read that. I got it. Okay, so there's a report, and these two countries increase, whatever, done. I don't even read this article anymore. And often, a journalistic tendency is to want to put all the information in the headline. I was at the museum, and we were at the 9/11 gallery, and they show all the different headlines. And it's interesting because so many of the headlines were like, war in America, or like devastation, and then like a picture. And it's like, okay, but then, the Wall Street Journal one was the one with the most facts. It was like two airplanes crash into buildings, like thousands died, like, and then like very specific, like, very specific like information. And I think that's what journalists tend to do, is like, start with the lead, start with the most important information. But I think that when it comes to the web and being competitive and trying to pull people in, you don't want to give it all away. Of course, if it's too vague, like Zach Walls talks about family, you're kind of like, okay, I don't know. There's no promise that there's going to be something awesome on the other side of this. So, I'm not interested. So then you kind of work it and you give it like some flavor. You get the sense that what this article is going to be about, but you don't know everything, and you need to click through to read the story to get something, right? So that's sort of like the way to think about this. And so we're going to talk about types of headlines now, because this is so, again, there are different frameworks, there's different like formats to do this. So one is like descriptive. So these are all pulled off of The Atlantic, which is great, great magazine, great website to read just generally. And so these ones are just like, I pulled them straight off of their site, and I think they do a good job with this. So descriptive fragments, not a complete sentence, right? Sort of like half of a statement. The dumbest bet in sports, that's just a word. That's just like a noun, like the bet that is the most dumb, right? So that's like one type. And then like how superstition works, that's like, you have that's already kind of interesting. It's like, what does it mean for, like, we're talking psychologically? Are we talking like, what are we talking about? But there's something, it's like cut off, right? Or there's like a semi-statement where where humans will always beat the robots. It's not like a full sentence. So that's one type. The next type is the full sentence. So, you make a statement, and maybe you agree with it, maybe you don't agree with it, but you get it. They're kind of making a stand, right? Some piece of information has happened, right? Don't you want to read these articles, right? Yeah, right. What is going on here? And so sometimes that could have been rewritten as like report on education in America, racial studies, like. But like this one fact that is so interesting, that's the headline, that's the lead. So full sentences, questions, right? Oftentimes some people get mad about questions because they're sometimes rhetorical. It's like, if there's a question, usually it's like, no, right? It's like, is X better than Y? Or is X the new Y? It's like, no, you just said that because it's not true that X is the new Y, but you want to like kind of raise the stakes. But I mean, this one, the Kerry versus Clinton, I think that's like a real comparison. You can also ask like, why did this happen? What happened? How does X work? And the question kind of draws you in because now you're thinking about it. You're thinking like, well, what did happen in Iraq? And then like sometimes, in this case, they're answering the question, right? So it's like question plus, the answer surprises you, and then you're like, oh, now I got to know what is the deal with mistresses and why are they whistleblowing? I didn't even know that was a thing. So questions can be really powerful as a way to do this. Theme plus topic. This is more common in academia. Like treading the waters, a study of like water in the South American rivers or whatever. But this can also be useful where you kind of give them a sense of what it's about. You give them a theme, and then you give them some more details. So another way to do this. And then quotes, right? So if someone says something really punchy and it's really powerful, you can just kind of lead with that. You can lead with the quote. You can lead with this one statement that maybe doesn't make any sense, or maybe is sometimes you quote the person because maybe this person is important, or it's like which and then you can combine them, like which president of a major bank said blank, and then so now you're curious on two levels. But quotes are one way to do this. Let's talk about writing style. I saved this for last because